So, spawning up in the top left-hand position as the blue Zerg player representing Vega Squadron, none other than FireCake. And his opponent down in the bottom left, the red Protoss. From my insanity, currently 1-0 up, it's Stardust. So, game number 1 was pretty interesting. FireCake went Swarm Host, Infestor, Broodlord, Corruptor, and pretty much everything that you would want as a Zerg player. Got massive static defense, and all hope looked lost for Stardust. Stardust, somehow, and I genuinely don't understand how he managed to do it, won that game. And it was incredible. Now, game number 2. Stardust is one game away from winning this series. Because this is the ESL Euro series, whoever wins... Obviously, if Stardust wins this, my insanity will go 3-0. Jack G, 1 up against Verdi. Dana, 1 up against Live Zerg. So if Stardust beats FireCake, that means my insanity to get the 3-0 win. However, if FireCake wins this game and the next one, then we see some more interesting times. Because that's when, obviously, Vega Squadron force a 4th game out of my insanity and things start getting leveled out. So, this game, we've got Spawning Pool first coming down at the moment, and that makes sense because I'd be very cautious if I was a game down against Stardust when I just played out a mass late game situation. So, exactly what comes down next from Stardust could be quite interesting. But Stardust opting to go a Nexus first, completely safe to do. Following up with a Gateway, not a Forge. But first 4-player spawn position, quite an easy map to wall off on, especially compared to Deadless Point. And, well, this is a very conventional opening from both players, so we should be looking good. FireCake needs to aim to get his 3rd base, this one, at about the 3-minute 50 mark, up against the Nexus first. That would be ideal. He's going to scout very shortly where his opponent has spawned as the Overlord comes on through. Knows it's not top right, so just wait to see whether it's cross. Even if it is cross, he'd most likely take this base anyway, so it's fine. It's the fact he knows it's not in the top right, which is why FireCake scouted there first. But FireCake now sees the Nexus coming down, knows it's a Nexus first, is going to continue on forward, which is good because he sees that it was a Gateway follow-up. Important bit of information there. So, FireCake not going for the normal timing of that 3rd base as of yet. Not super rushing it down. No gas is taken either though, so I am expecting to see that 3rd base still relatively soon. Should be coming out shortly. FireCake does actually have enough money for it, which is why I'm a bit interested to see where that money is going to go. Spending it, he's already got the double queens in production again, so he's going up to 3 queens quite early, being very, very safe for the time being. Meanwhile, we can see that Stardust up to 6 probes in gas, got his cybernetics core down. Unfortunately, he has 2 Zerglings in his base. 2 Lings aren't terrifying though, the probes can deal with those alone. If FireCake was able to get a worker kill, it would be impressive because 2 Lings aren't super dangerous. 3 or 4 is a bit more annoying. Meanwhile, nothing along the lines of a 3rd base coming down from FireCake, and this is now quite interesting. He's going to go and take it now. A pylon block is going to be attempted by Stardust and is going to succeed from Stardust. Now that is very annoying because there's no gas here. Gas now getting taken, because it has to be, since there aren't any Lings down at the moment. FireCake still droning heavily, going to be going up to 35 drones there. Meanwhile, we can see that Stardust moving across the map, and, well, with all of this, one Stalker isn't going to really threaten Stardust too much. So Stardust gets down the Rotron, and, well, this is very normal. It's exactly the same that happened last game. 3 queens there as well. The Mothership Core isn't with the army. Instead, that's sitting back at home, being defensive, ready to Photon Overcharge if needed. Still needs 20 more energy to do so, though. Stardust adding on a good number more gateways. Okay, a lot of gateways coming down now. Okay, so we're going to be going up to 7 gates. That is a lot of pressure coming in. Stardust does still have that pylon there. Knows his opponent is on only 2 bases. It would appear that Stardust is not in the mood for another late game. He wants to end this fast. This is a huge amount of production that can outright kill a Zerg player, especially if it isn't scouted. And Overlord is coming across. This is not really something that Stardust wants to have scouted. It is going to get seen. The lava count up at 12. I don't think Stardust can actually stop this yet. A couple of drones, a couple of Overlords in production, but of course FireCake now sees all of these additional gateways. Boom, comes down the roaches. He may even choose to get a couple of spine crawlers down there, but for the moment, the roaches alone probably will be enough. Of course, this is where it's all seen. The push will be coming in fairly soon. We've got the Warpins and Stalkers coming forward. A couple of roaches there. Emergency spine crawlers getting thrown down. No blink or anything, just going to be an awful lot of Stalkers coming out of here. And that's actually really good against the roaches. The link count, only at 3. Not particularly scary. A couple of Zealots are there. And Stardust starts moving in. He's going to take down that spine crawler first, prioritizing that. 2 spines on the high ground, a smart placement though, because there's no vision on the high ground without the mothership core there currently for Stardust. Worth noting that without the mothership core too, there's... oh, there it comes. I was going to say no mass recall or time warp, but mothership core now in the mix, going to be able to do a bit more damage, chipping away at these queens. The spine crawlers on the high ground can now be seen by the mothership core, but unfortunately for Stardust, they're going to be tough to take out. There's a good number of roaches here. Stardust needs to be careful. He needs to get some more warpins down. He's a bit short on money for the time being. Mothership core starting to work away at those spines. Good positioning by Stardust here. Just staying away from the spine crawlers. Doesn't want the extra damage done. In come a few reinforcements. Going to force the roaches back for the time being. But a lot more roaches are getting produced. The Zealots there just in case some lings come out. They're not too helpful against the roaches at the moment. This spine crawler positioning, absolutely amazing. So potent as you see. And I'd actually argue that those 2 spines are what allow FireCake to hold this for the moment. He is moving him down though, quite an interesting choice. That gives Stardust a very brief window of opportunity to do a lot of damage. I'm not sure if there's enough roaches to hold this for the moment. They are burrowing quickly, but some Zealots coming in. But by putting them down here, obviously the Zealots can engage them. That's going to be frustrating. The roach count is not that high, but the spine crawlers getting very low. Both get taken out. Stardust still continuing on with this pressure, having to kite away. And FireCake looks to just be holding on. Some Zealots are going to be coming in from behind him though. Going to want to retreat back from those. Doesn't want to get trapped. Doesn't want to get basically in a position where he can't retreat away. 10 more roaches on the way through. 14 probes to 44 drones at the moment. Stardust still trying to get some good damage done. His mothership core pulling back as the queens get some nice damage. The roaches are very low. Just more reinforcements coming in the nick of time. Is Stardust able to take this down? It's basically a battle at the moment for that critical mass of units. Whoever reaches it first will win this game most likely. Stardust hasn't massively... well, he's pretty much all in. He hasn't transitioned out. There's no upgrades. But then FireCake also hasn't got too much. Mothership core gets a good time warp. And with now the queen down, that means that these stalkers can start coming forward. 7 more roaches are about to come through, but the roach warren gets sniped down. Big win there for Stardust. He will now start producing probably exclusively Zealots, I would imagine, because he knows that only lings can be coming down. Without another roach warren, no more roaches. That's going to be a bit more annoying. FireCake, unfortunately, getting some lag issues there, and you can't move the screen while lag's going on, even as an observer. But, well, Stardust is going to need quite a few more Zealots to deal with the Zerglings coming through, but that snipe off of the roach one, very nicely done. I'm still not quite sure on the decision that FireCake took to bring the spine crawlers down from the high ground, because while they're up there, they're actually doing a really good job of what they're doing. Is when the spine crawlers were up there, they were able to block out Stardust pretty nicely, and it would appear that unfortunately we've got a crash there, so we are going to have to wait until the game gets back up. So that's good news for anyone who watches on VODs, because I'm not going to be able to nice and neatly cut that. So we're going to have to wait for the remake to get made. That means that I'm unfortunately going to have to sit here talking, because I can't put music on when it goes up to YouTube, or I will get attacked with a copyright claim or something like that. So I do not want that going down. Unfortunately, FireCake did crash out. Now, yeah, this is a very interesting position to resume from replay, because unfortunately for FireCake, he lost his roach warren. That going down is really problematic. It makes it exceptionally difficult to be able to defend against this heavy pressure coming through. You need those roaches to be able to deal with the Zealots. That's what they're there for predominantly. Now, Stardust taking that down is going to produce nothing but Zealots now, and he's already got a good number of Stalkers, and as I was saying in the game, whoever gets the superior mass of units up first is going to be in a very good spot, because once you kind of hit that critical mass, things are looking very good. Just waiting for the game to get started. Unfortunately, the admin loaded into the wrong replay, which is quite amusing. So things should be coming up pretty soon. We'll wait for the players to make it themselves. Of course, this is all on the line now for Vega Squadron. My Insanity won the first series with Jack G taking out Verdi 2-0. Jack G played that series incredibly well. He was very dominating in it, and yeah, comfortable 2-0 lead. That gave My Insanity a 1-0 advantage. Following on from that is, well, quite simply, a bit more fun coming down in the way of Dana versus, it was LiveZerg. Now, that was a much closer series. It was 2-1 for Dana. Game number 1 was won by LiveZerg with a really good all-in. He went for a Temple into a quick gas up into Banelings and just went for a Slowling, Baneling, pretty much all-in. Able to take out Dana nice and easy. Game number 2 was a little bit slower and a lot more passive. And the big thing about that game, which went down on Frost, was all about the upgrades for the Mutalisks. And it really showed just how important they were, because by getting the +1 Carapace out sooner for his Mutalisks, Dana was able to then get a lead in the 1-1 upgrades. And when a Mutalisk engagement came down of equal numbers, Dana was able to win that really easily. So, that's how Game 2 went. Game number 3, again, it was quite interesting, but that, I'd say the biggest thing was LiveZerg actually just left a lot of his units getting caught out of position, which is never really what you want. Getting units caught out can be very frustrating for you. So I think we are in the right lobby now. I'm just making sure that this is going. Yep, so everyone getting invited in. We should be resuming from replays shortly. Of course, game number 1 of Stardust versus FireCake was an exceptionally long one, going down on Daedalus Point, where Stardust was able to win up against Swarmhost, Infestor, Queen, Broodlord, Corruptor, Viper. That was basically the composition. It's the Zerg Death Ball. How he won that, I don't really know, but he did an incredible job of it. Now, we are loading back in to the game though. It's just restoring from replay, so it is recovering. Let's jump over to that and see how it goes. We can take a nice little look though of Kerrigan's face. This is quite an intimidating recovering from replay screen. It just means that the reason you recover it rather than just loading up the replay and taking over control is simply because you do not want the players to be able to see what's happening. You don't want them to get map vision or anything like that, which you can't guarantee that they won't look at everyone's vision. Whereas from recover replay, in a crash like this, great feature by StarCraft and Blizzard as a whole, is that obviously it hides it, it takes it back to when the crash happened, it then pauses the game. When the players restart, they get a nice 3, 2, 1, go, as you're going to see in a minute. So, as it stands, just to refresh everyone, Stardust went for a 7 gateway push off of 2 bases. He's denied the 3rd of FireCake by Pylon blocking it, and he's now getting ready to go. He's just recently picked off that Roach Warren, and therefore is only having to deal with Lings for the moment. Another Roach Warren is in production, but Stardust is currently only slightly down in that army supply. A lot of Lings on their way, Queens are down, and Spinecrawl is getting built as a priority. Stardust is going to start chipping away at these roaches. The Zerglings coming in, the Zealots are going to tank it up. Unfortunately, the Mothership Core will fall, so no more Time Warps or anything like that. Stardust dealing some more damage, trying to work through all of these roaches. The Zerglings not yet coming in, 20 about to spawn though. There is not many Zealots there at the moment to help with those. The Stalker will deal okay. They're going to be able to take out one of these spines. The second spine is going to get into a good position, but the Zealots going for it. The Zerglings pushing on in. Stardust still getting some good walk-ins through. The second Roach Warren is now down for FireCake, so we can start Roach production, but they of course take a while to produce. That's going to be frustrating for him. And well, Stardust still applying pressure. Both players' worker count very low. Both players unable to easily transition out of this. Stardust needs to deal a bit more drone damage. FireCake pulling his drones now as he's lost a lot of his roaches, and that is never a good sign. Once the drones start dying, that's when problems will occur. More roaches coming on through. Smart move pulling these drones. It was essential to do so, so the roaches were able to dish out some damage. Unfortunately, a couple of overlords going down. Luckily, though, not supply blocking FireCake as of yet. Stardust probably can't push in. Well, he can actually now. He's got a good walk with Stalkers, so he's going to be going for it, trying to prioritize those Queens out. The roaches taking some good damage, and well, Roaches numbers getting very low, some reinforcing through, but the problem is there's only 25 workers now, so while FireCake does have some minerals in the bank, he can't really afford to keep this production up, whereas Stardust has 39 probes. can afford to do it. He's got constant, steady income. He's picking off the roaches, and I think Stardust now is going to be able to win this game. As the green and final few roaches die, the drone count too low, critical mass achieved by Stardust, GG called, and Stardust takes the series 2-0, and that means My Insanity beat Vega Squadron in the ESL Euro Series 3-0 in their best of 5 team match.